Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming, ladies and some gentlemen. I appreciate it. On this beautiful Sunday morning. I want to thank the Rabbi for coming. I've been bothering him to come a lot, but Baruch Hashem, and I know in the past, since the war started, October 7th, I know I haven't seen Rabbi go to more Shiur in my life. I've seen a flyer every day. I believe we're going to Cleveland this week. I think you were in the 5 times last week for Shiur. It's a big privilege and a big pleasure and a big zechut to have Rabbi Kalish here. I'm a little upset some people came. I would have loved to sit with you for an hour, but it's okay. If it's not another time, I'll go up to Durham. Well, first, I'd like to just thank the sponsors over here. I'm sorry to my wife who's calling. 1 second, I'm sorry. Just to thank the sponsors who took part of giving to the Shiur, Eli Rifkin and Mia Robinson, Lila Nishmat Shlomo Ben Chaim, and Sarah Chana Bat Yaakov, as well as Bezrat Hashem the Shiur should be Refuah Shalema, B'schut Refuah Shalema, Yonina Bracha Bat Tzipor Freda. Just quickly, as people come in, I'll stall a little bit, but we just got off of Shkalim, and I was thinking, because I don't want to just stand here and just say welcome, just to introduce the Rav. It means a lot to me from afar. We're all Talmidim and Talmidot from afar. Just in Parsha Shkalim, we learned the obvious message that I believe the Rav embodies, that every Jew gives a half shekel to show, as we know, the timeless message that every Jew is equal in the eyes of Hashem, and we all strive in that way to see that every Jew is equal in the eyes of Hashem. But whoever is in the yeshiva or hears from afar the genuine Torah given by the Rav knows that he truly believes that, at least to the outsider, that every Jew is equal, every Jew is a neshama. There's no cover, and it's a beautiful thing. If you see when he's talking that, I know the Rav lost his father, Rabbi Shiur Kalish, Zichrono Livracha, who's a Rav in the community as well. And I like many, stopped by the Shiva, even though the Rav doesn't know who I am, but just to see his genuine focus on whoever he was talking to, even though it's a room full of 70 people at the time. I was there at a packed time, talking to one person at a time, true. Even I recall, didn't even know who every single person was, of course, but giving full attention. And it was just in the beginning of the Shiva, was a beautiful thing. And to hear through the Torah that he gives just in the recordings. And sometimes he says, "Oh, Madcha, you listening?" I go, "I'm listening. I know you're not talking to me, but I'm listening." And to give the message that every Jew could give their half shekel, and every Jew, every Talmud in yeshiva, and every Talmud from afar, not only is the equal in the eyes of Hashem and equal in the eyes of the Rav, but also could contribute to the greater cloud, can contribute to the Mishkan Hashem, the Beit HaMikdash, and to the communities at large, everyone in their own way and everyone equally. And with that, I'm glad I got through that. But Hashem, we'd like to welcome the Rav. Thank you so much for coming, really. It looks great.
Good morning to everybody. I want to thank Rav Mordechai. I've gotten to know Rav Mordechai the last couple of years, and just him and his whole family, extremely sincere, special Yidden. I meet people. To meet somebody like Rav Mordechai is to learn about ourselves. It's to learn about ourselves. When we hear, I've been along with the rest of Klal Yisrael, we've all been hearing incredible stories about the hostages. When I hear stories about Agam Berger, when I hear her talk, I learn. I went to a Vard in Lakewood and met Rashi Yeshiva. I'm learning about the Rashi Yeshiva. When you hear about Agam Berger, you're hearing about Yidden in Williamsburg, Satmar Chassidim in Williamsburg. When you hear about Agam Berger, you're actually hearing about yourself. I feel more proud that I'm a Yid when I hear about her. It's us. You're seeing a Yid under difficult circumstances, this Yid serving Hashem, the wild stuff. You're learning about us, about me and you. When you meet Yidden and you see things by Yidden, it's all us. We've made like categories, Svard, Ashkenaz, Litvish, Haredi, Mizrahi. These are all very cute. It's very sweet stuff. but it sometimes distracts us from the truth of a Yid. Hashem made a Yid. Those are man-made constructs and very important things, beautiful things, a beautiful Messiah. I don't want to lessen Messiah. There's a beautiful, rich Messiah from Sfard, beautiful, rich Messiah from Ashkenaz, Hasidish, beautiful Messiah, important Messiah. But it should never, ever distract from the truth of a Yid. A Yid, it's an addition. It's a beautiful thing. We all have Rebbeim. It would be silly to take a Rebbe we have and somehow get distracted from the construct of a Yid. A Yid is all us. We come from, if we walk into, Shlomo and I have traveled around, we're in a Sephardi shul, I say, us Sephardim. I mean it, us Sephardim. It's us. It's our people, us Sephardim. You buy Ashkenazim, us Ashkenazim. You buy Hasidim, us Hasidim. Litvish, us Litvisher. Wherever, it's us. It's us. It's all us. There's a people. There's an Am Yisrael, and it's all us. When I meet a Yid like Rav Mordechai, I love him. The Erlich, a person. He's an inspired Yid. I learn about me. I learn about you. I learn about us. We're beautiful. We're really special people. I'm hearing the stories of the hostages as La Ye'uman. And I'm being the shtaimim from us, from you and I. It's us. That's us. That's us. It's interesting. A lot of people go to the Beis HaMikdash, line up in the Beis HaMikdash, and they're all bringing karbanos, different fancy, amazing karbanos people are bringing. And there's a Yid there who you don't see as karban. He looks like much less than everybody else. And Hashem says about that Yid, I love him. I love him. Hashem shouts out that Yid who's bringing the mincha. The mincha's flour. It's the cheapest karban. The Yid Pashad, everybody's bringing fancy stuff. And the Yid has like flour in his pocket. He hides it. He has a mincha. He's probably very poor. He can't afford anything more. He brings the minchas ani. And Hashem says about that Yid that it's him that I like. Kilu hikriv nafshay. Says on him that I treat it like he brought his soul. I love that Yid. Now there's a tremendous danger. I want to describe, there's a tremendous danger, and I'd like to describe this. In the world of Hasidus, we always celebrated the simple Yid. There's many stories. There's a story, if anybody's heard the story of Chatzkel Lekavod Shabbos. Shlomo Kalbach says over the story, Chatzkel Lekavod Shabbos. It's from the Akdama to a Sefer, and he speaks about a Yid who was a trader, who was a porter. He was a carrier, and he would always say Lekavod Shabbos. And big tzaddikim said he was one of the Lamed Vav tzaddikim. And in the world of Hasidus, always celebrated the simple Yid. Now there's a danger. So are we selling the bar short? So we're not valuing somebody steiging it. I went right nearby here. I went to the Rebbe's kever to daven there. It's an incredible makom tefillah. I went to daven by the Rebbe's kever. It was the middle of the night, and I went with a few guys. We went to daven there. And a guy stopped us. We were davening at the kever. There were about 15 people davening, and a guy asked for quiet. And he said, if I could speak, he said, I don't know Hebrew. And I'm hearing you all pray. And could you all pray for me? He said my name. He said his English name, the son of his father's name. I don't know Hebrew. Could you pray for me? And I was amazed by his sincerity. And of course, I was thinking, could you pray for all of us? It's your prayer. And all of Hasidus, the Rebbe himself, taught us about Nishmas Yisrael. Now, I want to explain something. So am I celebrating? Do I regret that I know Hebrew and I could talk to Hashem? I'm very, very happy that I know Lashon Kodesh. And I'm very appreciative. When I celebrate him, I'm actually celebrating all of us. And Stelzach, and imagine if you just add a list of Lashon Kodesh, I want to keep what he has, of course, a Yid, in its full purity and sincerity and beli gaiva, with just an authentic, honest Yid who says, I don't know these words. Could you please pray to me? And the world of Hasidus taught us not to overlook what it means a Yid. It's not trying to say, when Hashem points out the one who brought the carbon ani, so is that putting down the one who has the richer carbon? It's not at all. It's not putting it down. Fakert. The one who has the richer carbon is that ani. And he should see himself as that ani. We're all the ani. We're a yid. That's, of course, with that sincerity and purity, we bring the most expensive karbanis. Excellent, 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 beautiful. Just keep the purity. Keep in touch with that yid, the yid that's there. So this, whenever, as when we see Yid and understand, please understand it's all us. I meet a Yid like Reb Mordechai. I see a person, a daibin, an elevated Yid, a glorious Yid. He has the rich man's carbon, but he has the sincerity of the Minchas Ani. That's a Yid. So I thank you, Reb Mordechai, for having me. I thank the shul for having me. I thank everybody on a Sunday morning to come out to come out and learn together. I did ask, Shlomo's here. So I'll ask Shlomo, we'll share on this Sunday. It's Adar, it's Chodesh Adar. We'll share some music as well. But I would like to start speaking about the following topic. Before we share some music, I'd like to speak about the following topic. In davening we say, Bavur Aviseinu Shabbat Chuvecha, because our fathers trusted in you, Hashem, Vatilamdem Chukechayim, you taught them Torah. The schos that we've given the Torah is because of faith. Bavur Aviseinu Shabbat Chuvecha, since our fathers trusted in you, Hashem, Vatilamdem Chukechayim, you taught them Torah. B'schos faith. What is this faith we're referring to? That's a schos of Torah. The Gemara in Shabbos describes Tumas Yisharim Tanchem. Tumas means the sincerity and the faith. Rashi says the betachan, the faith. The faith of Yisharim, we're known as the Yisharim, the straight ones. Tanchem, it guided us. It allowed us to say Naaseh v'nishma. Kabbalah HaTorah came b'schos our faith. So I want to talk about what faith, what bitachon are we talking about? Tumas Yisharim Tanchem, the faith of Am Yisrael, the Yisharim, guides us and leads us and directs us, allowed us to become the great nation we are. And it speaks about in Ava Rabbah, Bavur Aviseinu Shabbat Chuvecha, since we have faith in you, Vatilamdem Chukechayim, Hashem teaches us Torah. I would like to describe a little bit the faith we're referring to, and then lead into a sugya that's very relevant to Chodesh Adar. It's very relevant, I believe, to our lives. So I'd like to say the faith is as follows. I'm going to use a mashal from Shidduchim. We actually have a few chasanim in the room. We have a few chasanim in the room. The Schwimmer Chaikel's here, and other chasanim. I think I saw 3 chasnei kalas in the room, I think. So I think it's appropriate to come from a place of shidduchim to talk about what this faith in Hashem that allows us to be Mekabel Torah. I'd say as follows. Another chasan, Danny. Excellent. Maybe a four chasanim in chasan in one room. Excellent. So like this, Danny. Somebody is dating, a young lady's dating a guy. And she always thought she's going to marry somebody tall, 6'2" or taller. And the guy is generously 5'8". When he wears like very thick shoes, he's 5'8", and his yarmulke is high, and maybe with his hat, maybe. So she's grappling. I thought I'd marry somebody 6'2". So what should she do? And boys have the same thing. What should she do? So she thinks again and again, could I do this? Could I do this? Could I do this? You're just obsessing. I thought he'd be 6'2", and he's not. The way I think a person should do, Reb Nachman speaks a lot about trusting your gut. To me, the main thing in dating is the question, is this my husband? Is this my wife? Do I feel it's my wife? The girl should not clear the shaila. Could I manage 6 for 2? You could obsess. You could call all the seminary teachers she ever had. She can call everybody and ask the question again and again. It was 6-2. I don't know. I thought. She should ask one question. She should ask one. Another chassan. Baruch Hashem. Yeah. She should ask one question. She should ask herself, and when she dates, she's asking, is this my husband? Is this my husband? Is it my husband? Do I feel it's my husband? There's nothing to do, ignore the height. Now, maybe because he's 5'8", not 6'2", I can't feel it's my husband. It's okay, so then it's not your husband. But I don't get it. I shouldn't be so superficial. No, that's Hashem could work through all my stuff. If I don't feel it's my husband, I don't care why, so then it's not my husband. At the point I feel it's just my husband, so then it's amazing. I always thought my husband would be tall, and my husband's taka short. It's not obsessing on the question, the height. Not what you're thinking about at all. There's only one question in dating. A guy is asking, is this my wife? Is this my wife? Do I feel it's my wife? Is that what I sense? She's asking, do I sense it's my husband? At the point I feel it's my husband, don't even think about the question. I thought he'd be tall. Okay, that was my thoughts. And now I found out my husband's shorter. So interesting. It's just an interesting thing that I thought I was going to have a tall husband, but I just met my husband and he's short. Fascinating, fascinating. We've been wrong about many things in our life, and I just found out my husband's short. Interesting. So interesting. That's the only question you're thinking. A boy has a question. The only question is this my wife? And that's all he's not thinking about, but I told sure it's not what he's thinking about. Is it my, and at the point it's my wife, so then I found out my wife's from here. I thought she'd be from there. Okay. Interesting. What's happening with Am Yisrael is we have a shidduch with Torah. Hashem read a shidduch with Torah. We can't imagine. Kabbalah HaTorah is much more profound than we just handed us a book. We're deeply, our opinions in Torah matter, how we view Torah, what it says to us. We have a deep, deep connection to Torah. Yisrael v'yirai sachadu. By the way, if you want to learn Torah, you could go around and meet Yidden. If you meet Yidden, you're learning Torah, literally. Yisrael v'yirai sachadu. If you learn Torah, you're meeting Yidden. If you learn Yidden, you're meeting Torah. Yisrael v'yirai sachadu. They're one, they're a shidduch. And then I didn't realize that. When we study Torah, we find out about ourselves. Oh, that's my shidduch. So I learned, and this is the best shadchan ever. Hashem read the shidduch. So I read Torah, I find out about the Yid. I read the Yid, I find out about Torah. It's the perfect shidduch. Oh, and I felt mamish like the girl who says, I always thought my husband's going to be tall, but he's my husband, and he's short. Oh, so I say, okay. So I see, I mamish had the wrong picture. It was a short husband, okay. Because I feel he's my husband. I sense I have a certain faith. I think a person should trust their gut and their inside, and I have a certain sense. This is just my spouse. So when Yidden received the Torah, the faith of Yidden was, we understood that if Hashem is the Shadchan and introduced us to Torah, all the other Ummah said, I don't know if I fit it. And Klal Yisrael sensed, if Hashem read the Shidduch, so, oh wow, Mamish always thought he was going to be tall and he's short. I always thought, and I study Torah, I find out about me. It fits us because God read the Shidduch. It's our zivug. It's our match to Torah. And we study Torah, we find out about ourselves. It's our match. There's a pasuk. The pasuk in Mishpatim, last week's parasha, describes chesed. And it describes if you see the chamar of your enemy, you dislike somebody. You see, it's even a mitzvah to dislike this person, the Gemara Psachim. You see a big Russia's chamar, and he's struggling under the load. It doesn't just say help him. The Torah says, V'chadalta meyazavlei. You're crazy, you're not going to help him? Mishogah. V'chadalta, you think you're not going to help? Why doesn't it just tell us help him? Azev tazev, help. The Torah and us are one. A yid doesn't just help like robotically, mechanically. We have a lave. It's like not. It's sad not to help. He's not. I don't even. I'm not even close. This person's a Russia, and the Torah says it's the Yid. Crazy. I'm not going to help you. You ever drive on a highway if a yid's stuck? Every yid who passes by stops. You know why? Because the Torah and us are one, and the Torah says you're crazy. You're not going to stop. I was once coming to Five Towns to meet with my father, and a big gadol was in my father's house, and we had arranged, let's say, 11 o'clock. I don't remember the times. We had arranged a meeting in my father's house. My tata, Renika Paris Mishkave, this gadol, and I was going to meet them too. And my father would have a meeting, and I was driving in, and a yid was stuck on the side of the road. It was a Goyish holiday, and he was stuck. Nobody was coming. And I pulled there with my wife, and we stayed with the yid for an hour. He was bugging. He was being a little bit tough on his children. I felt it. I'm not leaving this yid. No way. You're not allowed. Chadaltam, are you crazy? Remember, I came an hour late. My father was never a minute late to anything. He was a little bit frustrated. He said, "Hu lo mesudar." He said, "You're not being so mesudar." This tzaddik, I'll never forget, gave me a kiss. He said, "Hu ken mesudar zeh seder shalom." I felt very good. He said, "No, it's mesudar." Lemaisa, I told my father, "You're crazy. It's not a question. You can't not help it." But the Torah writes every extra line of the Torah is us, becomes us, is who we are. The Torah and us is a perfect shidduch. When we saw the Torah, we found out about ourselves because Hashem said it's our shidduch. That is the faith we're referring to. It's a faith of understanding that if Hashem made the shidduchs, I found out what's for me and what I'm about and what I'm like and what I'm possible to connect to because Hashem made the shidduch. So obviously this is me, and Hashem said this is your shidduch. That was the faith we're talking about. It's a whole different way of learning the Torah. We don't ask, you think I could do this? Whoa, this pasuk. We say, oh wow, I found out about me. Wow, to find out about ourselves is wild. So I want to find out about us. I want to study in Parshas Yisro, the Aseres HaDibros, one of them for a few minutes. I want to talk about this for a few minutes. The Aseres HaDibros, the 10 commandments that clearly are clearly singled out as especially significant. They're on the luchos. We have Taryag Mitzvos, but these 10 in some way are klalim of Kol HaTorah Kula, and they're singled out, these 10 commandments. And we have a commandment, Lo Sachmid. Don't have desires. Lo Sachmid. Lo Sachmid. We have a command not to be jealous, not to have a chemda, not to have a desire what is by somebody else. It's a pella. It's a pella. To read Lo Sachmid, I try to picture the first time Klal Yisrael found this out. My friend's daughter, a friend of all of ours. Shloima Yehuda, a friend, you'll be proud. Yizmo, a friend of ours. Mo, a friend of ours. His daughter, Rai Silverman Shlita. His daughter came home, his 5-year-old daughter, and said, Mora told me we're not allowed to be jealous. That's not true, right? She came home, that's not true. It's very complicated. I want to speak. Our Moris and Rebbeim, the young ones, are the holiest people in the world. The Priwanei, Morris, Rebbeim, first grade Rebbeim, Mamish Kodesh Kadashim. When I got engaged to my wife, she was an assistant for Priwanei. Today she's a speech therapist, but she was an assistant Priwanei. That's like the holiest people in the world. To me, I'm in. That's for sure. That's my wife. The Priwanei, kindergarten, holy people. So what they teach is very chashuv, our children. We were taught as youth is very big and true. It's very complicated because you teach a youngster that you're not allowed to be jealous. We have songs against jealousy. I have a question, but we are jealous. Can anybody here say you don't have jealousy? You never had? We're not full of jealousy. Baruch Hashem, we have so much richness. But we don't get jealous sometimes. Somebody gets a little covered, has success in certain ways. We don't get jealous. What do we do with that? But we are. So what do you mean by Sachmid? But we do, human beings. Somebody else has, we want. Our Torah says, Lo Sachmid. I love that a 5-year-old child came home and said, my Morris said you're not allowed to be jealous. That's not true, right? Such an honest girl. She's an amazing girl, this girl. And she said to her father, that's not true. And he was like, that's complicated. We all get jealous. So what does it mean, loisachmid? What's being said here? Very complex. Very, very complex. I'm not going to say a maskan. I want to handle the sugya with everybody here. The chinuch says from loisachmid, the chinuch, the Rishain, the chinuch says that halev maser biyadenu. We have power over our heart. Complex. But he says, you see, we study Torah. Hashem taught me. How I thought I have no power. I thought like, whoa. And the chinuch says, halev maser biyadenu. Our heart's given to us. When I get jealous, I'm very, very happy. Very, very happy. Very. It's like a very happy thing. Are you crazy, Kalish? The Torah said, Sachmed. I like it because I have the best conversations with myself and I'm jealous. The best walks ever. I talk to myself, what do you want, Daniel? What are you interested in? What are you jealous about? You have sugyas, you learn. It's the best days of your life, literally. You end up learning important things. Very complex, and we have to teach the child very carefully, because what happens by many is we shame jealousy. Then when we get old, I'm just not jealous. Whoa, that's a bad one. It's one of the 10. You're not allowed to murder, kill, b'chalal Shabbos, not allowed to be jealous, like Sachmaid. So I just shame it, I just deny it. Easy does it. Whoa, I'm not jealous. Whoa, that was scary. You just deny, but the problem is, but I am. And Hashem said, Lo Yisachmaid. So what do I do with that? Hashem said, Lo Yisachmaid, don't desire it, but I do. So the easy thing to do, till I met the guys in yeshiva, I just denied inside feelings. I ignored them. Today's dar is a rebellion against ignoring our inside. If I spoke for today's generation, if I in any way could be a spokesperson, I'm a loudmouth and I have no right, but if any way I could be a spokesperson for today's young people, for today's teens and 20-year-olds, and they've come, there's a tremendous revolution of the pnimius, of the inside. And if in any way I could express, is don't ignore the inside. We refuse for that. So I learned from my Rabbi that you're not allowed to be jealous. I had all different songs about jealousy. Could you imagine a 5-year-old of today who said to her father, that can't be true, I'm jealous. She's a person of today, Naira. That's what your kids are going to be like. It's amazing because you're like that. A pneumistic of people, but I am jealous. Such an honesty and a sincerity. So my Mora said, you're not allowed to be jealous. That's not true. She's grappling, but I am. So I'm bad. So ignore it. So just say I'm not. But I am. So the chinuch gives us chizuk that the leaves must be adena. We could do something about it. So let's get to work. Let's roll up our sleeve and have conversations. Don't crush it and deny it. You're denying Hashem. You're ignoring reality. Hashem created us and we have an inside. By the way, we can get places. We can get places with a healthy conversation. Hashem made us right. And we could work. Halev Master. It's interesting. The Messiah Yisharim says we don't have so much control over the lev. He says that it's not as much. He says it's Yoiser Mesura Biyadenu, our Maisim, than our lev. He doesn't say we don't control our lev. He says our action is more in our power than our heart. The Chinuch says Halev Master Biyadenu. We can control our lev. The Messiah Yisharim is also agreeing. It's just harder. Don't shame it. When you feel, have a conversation with it. Go on a walk. Talk about it. Get in touch with it. This is what our generation of today is remarkable. It's a very pneumistic adar. That's the older generation, people like me, come on, just do it. So I just do it even though I don't feel. But I'm going through my inside. I experience something. I'd like to work through that. I'd like to connect to it. I'd like it to mean something to me. There's a pneumius. And the lev is maser biyadenu. We have access to that place called the lev. The Purim story There's two things that are striking beyond to me. The Purim story gives us access to two powerful world leaders, Haman and Achashverosh, and it's crazy. They're running the world, and they're just with their bad midas. They're angry, they're upset, they're a little bit jealous, and then they make world decisions. Haman decides to have mass genocide of an entire people because he's embarrassed to just start up with Mordechai. It's degrading for him. It's crazy, and he's making world decisions. I would say till what's gone on the last week, when the whole world watched world leaders like cheppering and fighting and their own till recently, I'd said since the Megillah, we haven't gotten an inside view of world leaders. Since the Megillah recently, you hear this one yelling at this one, upset and insulted, and is he appreciative enough? Fascinating. The midas of the Megillah shows us a remarkable thing. Mitzad echad, here the whole world is at the mercy of this guy's angry, he's sad, he kills his wife, he just killed the queen of the world. And complete the human frailty, and big world leaders are running based on literally the flavor of the day, when they're drunk, what they're feeling. And yet, perfect order, Hashem runs the world exact. And the Megillah Mitzad Echad, we all know there's a great contradiction of all our lives. We all have choice. Choice is precious. The whole world was created for choice. Choice is important. We all have bechira. I always love when my kids make decisions. I would rather my kids choose wrong than somebody else chooses for them. I say this again. I'd rather my kids make a bad decision than somebody chooses for them. Choice is wonderful. Don't ever take away somebody's choice. Youth will go to adults and say, can you please take my bechira from me? Say, no, you're going to choose. Don't choose for anybody. But it's scary. They choose. People choose. But they might mess up. Beautiful. We're human. Choose. A beautiful bechira is gorgeous and important and precious. I don't know, what should I do? Should I go to this yeshiva or that? Choose one. But I might get it wrong. Yeah. Okay. A human being, choice. Be sincere. Be authentic. Don't give over your choice to anybody. We're alive to choose. The Sma says, Saini Matanas Yechya. Somebody who hates gifts, Yechya will live. The Sma says, because if somebody's beholden to people, they lose a sense of choice. So that's death. Bacharta b'chaim. Bechira is alive, choice. Saini Matanas is Yechya is alive. They're not beholden to people. They maintain the options to choose. Somebody who's always taking gifts, beholden to people, gives up their choice. Choose. Don't be afraid to choose. You choose wrong, so you chose wrong. Choose and think and be sincere. Don't worry. The Megillah both speaks about the choice of people, and yet Hashem runs the world with exactness. It's a contradiction. None of us can understand this. This means that it's Hashem, that there's choice. How can 8 billion people have choice and yet things be exact? Nobody can hurt me if Hashem doesn't want. Nothing can happen. I have Hashem with me. It's an impossibility. It's the Purim story. The choice of crazy people running the world, and then the Borei Olam who runs the world, and everything's very exact. And he can run through crazy people, and does, and things are exact. But what I want to speak about is not that. What I want to speak about is the Medrash on the Megillah says about Rishon, that Rishon heim birshus libam. They're owned by their emotions, by their leiv. Rishon are birshus libam. Every whim, every feeling. Achashverosh is happy, he's sad, he's up, he's down. Rishon birshus libam. They are owned by their hearts. And tzaddikim libam birshusam. Tzaddikim, their leiv they have a power over their leiv. Tzaddikim have feelings also, all different feelings. Us Yidden have all different feelings, and we don't crush them. Rav Kook writes a beautiful letter, somebody just showed it to me, that a bad melech crushes the people and doesn't allow for opinions. A bad leader it's only his and there's no room for opinions. He says that people use their brain to crush all their emotions is a bad melech. He said we feel all different things. Allow space for it. You're this, you're that. Allow for it. Allow. Comfort it. It's taking you somewhere. It's telling you something. Of course, the melech. Of course, it decides. Tzadikim libam birshusam. Their heart is in their hands. They don't make it, but they have a heart. They have different feelings, and they know how to go on walks and work with things and talk things over, and it brings them to wonderful places. Risham is heim birshus libam. Their whim, and there's no conversation, there's no dialogue, there's no melech. The brain is not deciding and thinking and processing things. So when we see a pasuk like Sachma, it is such a chezuk. That it says that we have shaykhis tar leiv, that we could work with it, we can acknowledge it. And actually in the pasuk like Sachma, it says, but what do we learn? Kinat taiva v'akav ma'tzian esadam and olam. Jealousy destroys from the world. So what are we doing with jealous? We go on a walk. We should go on a good walk. Somebody said, but the jealousy still stayed. It won't leave after a day. Why do you want your Rebbe to leave after a day? People say Kairach, the story of Kairach is the destruction of jealousy. It's not this, it's a wrong shot in Kairach. Kairach's jealousy, Kairach was jealous, but it's not a story of the destruction of jealousy. It's the story of somebody who ignored his jealousy, who learned as a little kid jealousy is bad, said, I'm not jealous, and then made a whole revolution based on nonsense. Kairach should have sat down and gone on a walk and said, I'm jealous. I'm jealous, and gone on a good walk with jealousy. The story of Kairach is not the destruction of jealousy. Jealousy brings people to big madregas when they go on good walks. They talk, what's important to me, why am I jealous, what do I want to do, what do I want to do with my life? Very good conversations. The story of Kairach is not how bad jealousy is. It's how bad unchecked jealousy is. When you're jealous and you deny it and ignore it, and then make whole shittas, that's the story of Kairach. Jealousy should have brought Kairach. He should have been the Rebbe of Klal Yisrael. He would have said to himself, why do I want leadership? Oh, because I really care. There's a deep place in me that it's a big thing to help Am Yisrael. Shmuel Anavi came from Kairach. He would have said, I have deep shrushim in me of leadership. Shmuel is Kalish Rabbeinu. There were big shrushim in Kairach of Gadlus. If he would have walked with the jealousy, he would have said, you know why I'm jealous? Because I'm taka shaykh to big things. That's why I'm jealous. Okay, let me learn. You know what he ended up would have loving Moshe Rabbeinu more than anybody? He ended up would have seen his own gadlus from the jealousy. The best times in my life when I feel jealousy and I go on a walk. I find out crazy stuff. You know why? Because my pnim is good and your pnim is good and all our people's pnim is good. And you end up going on walks and discovering like great stuff. Then you end up discovering, Chazal say, I want to share like this. When I was a youngster, I was Zoich, and my Rebbe is one of the great Bali Musar. Rabbi Per Zatzal was one of the great Bali Musar, I believe, of our generation. His wife is a great-granddaughter of the Alter of Nevardik. He became a Talmud of Ram Yafin, who was a son-in-law of the Alter of Nevardik. And my Rebbe was one of the great Bali Musar. As a youngster, he told us that the Bali Musar would say psukim for hours at a time. They would say psukim, mamari chazal, statements chazal. For example, there's a chazal, ein adam noigea b'mashemuchem l'chaverei k'malei nima. What one has, Hashem is ein sof, he's limitless. What somebody else has is no shaykhis to what you have. Everybody's their own cheshbon. We're not competing for anything. Ein adam noigea, a person is not relevant. B'mashemuchem l'chaver, for what's prepared for his friend k'malei nima. Nobody could touch what I'm supposed to have. Nobody could touch what you're supposed to have. So that chazal, a great Bal Musar said it for 9 hours, that chazal. So as a youngster, my Rebbe taught me this, we would like, I and some of my friends, I would try to say over chazal repeatedly. Say over a chazal, repeat it. Say it again. You're walking, you're anyway somewhere, say the chazal. I want to tell you what I discovered as I'm getting older, and it takes 40 years to be Omer al Das Rabbi. I'll tell you what I've discovered now. Those greats were saying the Chazal. Do you realize they first would say, I am jealous? Why are they saying a Chazal, Ein of Nagir? What was the friction? They just out of the blue were walking along. They felt something. They said, hey, I'm jealous. Then they said, oh, let me talk to that. Hey, okay, let me learn. And they learned with friction, beautiful friction. They learned and studied. There was a problem. I'm jealous. And from that place of a problem, they got to great places. The men will specifically, the women will appreciate this also. Men have chavrusas. Yehuda, I think anybody who learned b'chavrus will appreciate this, though this is relevant to men and women alike. How do you think about a kasha? You're learning with your chavrusa, and you have a bomb kasha. How do you think about the kasha? What do? You both sit there, you crinkle your heads. What does it mean to think? I don't want to create, it's a little trippy to think about this. What does it mean to think? So you both sit there, we're thinking, what does that mean? Do you know what I do when I have a kasha? I ask the kasha again and again. I need to be bothered. From the space of being bothered, I get to terutzim. I need the friction. That's what it means to have a kasha. The previous generation, a good speaker spoke and would use tricks of speaking. An amazing word, a great story. Today's generation can't stand that. The second you use tricks of speaking, everybody falls asleep. Nobody wants, throw away all the speaking tricks of the previous generation, all. You know, the only thing you should do, ask a good question. Today we're meeting and we're just asking that all of us are jealous, and God said not to be jealous. Ask a true question. There's friction in the room. That's all you should do. That's the only tricking technique. We're a very pneumistic adar that wants to connect to something. Ask a question that's really bothersome. That 5-year-old question who said to Rabbi Silverman, she said, my Mora said you can't be jealous. That's not true. I feel jealous. So Hashem made me wrong. Should I just deny it? I'm not willing to say, okay, I'm not jealous, but I am. That's the friction of this year. It's a friction. And the answer is that if Hashem said, Leisachmaid, we have faith in Hashem. It's my shirach the Torah. Hashem said, don't. So then it tells me I can work with my lave. And it tells me that there's what to work with. And when you work with your lave, you get to incredible places. You find out shrushim that are very good, and you'll end up a complete kiyum of Leisachmaid. You'll end up what they have what I, you'll end up there, because Hashem said, Leisachmaid, to a people who have chemda. By the way, all the other goyim had this kasha, and they said, Torah is not for me. They were very honest. They were honest. That was pretty impressive of the Asylum. They said, Torah is not for me. It says Leisachmaid, and we have chemda. It's not, I'm not willing to lie. Then comes one people, and we're not willing to lie either. Hashem says Leisachmaid, we have chemda. So it means I'm shaykh to be a kiyum of Leisachmaid. Or do I need a lot of conversation? You find out your pneumius is good. You find out what you want is good. Kairach would have looked inside, would have loved what he found, and would have put things in their right place. He ignored it all, and the Kinameh, he made up a revolution, did terrible things, because he ignored it all. When people look deep and have honest conversations, you find out the coolest things, and you get to good places. Slowly, by the way. I'm going to give a mashal. I could give better mashalim, more juicy. I'm going to give a mashal that I've said to a lot of the chevra here already. I'm only repeating this because it's a good, I all owe to the guys in yeshiva, to today's chevra that are so pneumistic. I'm going to tell you a little story that I said publicly before, but I only want to bring out, don't be afraid of what's in. I brought my daughter to the mall in Waterbury. It's a very empty mall. And she had a need there in the mall. And so I was in the hallway on the phone. She was taking care of her stuff. In inner city, was early in the war, after Simchas Torah, a few months after. And a guy came up to me, a very strong guy, from the inner city of Waterbury, and he walked right up nose to me. I'm going to be honest. I'm not trying to be funny. It's just true. I thought he wanted a hug. We're big huggers in yeshiva, and he came up. I don't mind. I respect all a guy is chaviv in adam. I literally thought when he first came, he wants a hug. I don't mind. He must know the yeshiva. We're like warm heaven, no problem. He came right up, nose to nose, mamish, and then he screams, "Get out of Gaza!" He said it once. Then a second time, "Get out of Gaza!" He screams. At that point, after he screamed second, I was shaking. I was you have like adrenaline. I thought it was going to be a fight. He was going to punch. I thought, okay, here goes. Round one. And I was on the phone with Aaron Hartman. I was on the phone, Aaron Hartman. He says from the phone, "Rabbi, is everything okay?" Not really, but I don't think you could fight from Florida to here. It's going to be a one-on-one. You could cheer, like get in the phone. But Lemaisa, he spits on the floor, screams a third time, "Get out of Gaza," and he walks away. At the time, I was shaken up, and in my mind, I thought it's time for us to leave Gaza. We have to get out. We got to get out. That's what I thought. That's a very shameful thought. If we're being honest, I want to be tough, macho, and what do you mean? I'm Yisrael. You go around. And here, Kalish, I'm exhausted. I can't. This guy started up. I almost got punched. And I want to call Netanyahu and tell him, please get out of Gaza. That's what I wanted to do. Now, before I met the guys in yeshiva, I promise you, I would have denied the thought. Just say I didn't have that thought. It's easy. We aren't our thoughts, and it's true. So Hashem, it's a little like Hashem made me a little off. Tremendous chil Hashem. Say I'm off and just you make believe like you didn't, like it's not negeh. That's what I would have done. Easy does it. You walk away and you just like make believe, but it's deep in me. It's not a fleeting thought. Maybe on some thoughts there's room to say it's an asayim, but it was like deep in me. I was tired and wanted us to leave Gaza. Now it's like shameful. I have friends fighting. I have a brother-in-law who's in Gaza. He's fighting in Gaza, my brother-in-law. And me, a guy threatens to maybe get into a little sichsuch, seder, a little tussle, and I need us to leave Gaza already. That's pretty shameful. How do I tell my brother-in-law, you're fighting in Gaza, and I'm like tired. He's mamish a tzaddik, a hero, and I'm tired. But that's what I felt. Because I met the guys, I'm not playing that game. I try not to play that game. I try to talk to where I'm at. So I say, Daniel, what do you want? And I want to call Netanyahu and tell him to leave Gaza. I'm not going to go at length on it, but in my mind, I went at length. I was calling Netanyahu. And I was going to call him up and tell him, I'm Dan Kalish. I'm a big fan of yours. I like him. He's a Yid. He's a Yid who most places in the world, Netanyahu, Bibi would either be kicked out or killed because he's a Yid. By me, you're welcome. I like him a lot. I don't know politics. I couldn't give a flip. This side, that side. I like that he's a Yid who most places would be troubled. He can come here. He can come anytime. You can tell him if you meet him, he's invited to Durham. We'll treat him. We'll give him a good meal, a hug too. He's good to go. The bottom line is I decided to call him and ask him to please leave Gaza. I can't handle it anymore. And I pictured he'd see, like, you're a pretty nice guy, Kalish, and you really want, you know what, okay. We would call Yoav Galant, at the time was the general, together, and tell him, Yoav, Dan Kalish can't handle it, please leave Gaza. That's what my mamish decided to do this. And then I started picturing that Yoav's going to say that, okay, he really can't handle it, let's go out of Gaza. And I started picturing the troops leaving, and I started thinking of the Yidden who are a few feet away and the troops are leaving and they're left there. I started davening very hard for the Yidden, and I decided, I never called Netanyahu. I decided not to call him. What do you mean? They're Yidden there. They're Yidden there. What are you talking? They're Yidden there. What are you saying? What are you suggesting? They're Yidden there right now. It became real to me. So how fascinating, from a very selfish thought came caring and concern. Maybe Hashem didn't make us wrong. Maybe we just have to look in and see what it's telling us. See what it's telling us. It usually tells us good things. That selfish thought said, Kalish, you're afraid. It's good to be afraid. You care about yourself. Then I learned to extend it. And from that thought, I actually cared about other Yidden. I think this word, that Purim, that our Pneumius is good, the Pneumius of the Yid is wonderful, allows us and empowers us. Sadiqim libam birshusam. We have a say over our lave. It's not easy, but there's a sugya of the lave. Rishon, the Megillah, is a complete sugya of Rishon, that Haim Birshus Libam, they're owned by their lave because they don't handle, there's no sugya of the lave. So they're owned by it, they don't call it out, it just controls them. Rishon Birshus Libam. Then we have a beautiful people that's Shaykh to Leis Achmed. That's Shaykh to Leis Achmed. I'm going to ask Shlomo, this is not, somehow it usually comes to this song. I'm going to ask Shlomo, I want to know, I'm going to ask him publicly if he could play L'cha Amar Libi, that the lave of a Yid that's ever precious. And David HaMelech says that the lave of a Yid says, Bakshu Panai, seek me. Says, seek Hashem. The lave of a Yid that's so powerful and strong, don't be afraid of our lave. Come up, Shlomo, come. Thank you, Shlomo. How's the throat? The early morning for your voice. When a person sings with their throat, so you have to know there's a night throat and early morning throat. The early morning throat is not always the same as the night. But when you sing with the lave, with the pneumus of sincerity, could be the morning's better than the night. The lave doesn't get so sore. So I always feel by Shlomo I could ask to sing in the morning too. I thank Shlomo Guri for playing this for us. Wow. On cue. If you don't understand. I crave you with all my heart. 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 Oh yes, Fanecha Hashem Alakesh. Es Fanecha Hashem Alakesh. Thank you. Bring your hood up. I want to talk about the fire alarm for 3 minutes. You have to also understand where we come from. 8 years ago, our yeshiva was closed down by a story with the fire. We were shut down. We were thrown out of the city of Waterbury, and the Nes Hashem, we moved to a gorgeous campus. It was like a Nes. We had gone from a campus that wasn't the fanciest I've ever been part of, and we had a fire issue and we were thrown out. The next, in the summer, Mamish Nisim, we have this gorgeous campus. Parents were like impressed, like, wow, like you moved. I remember day one, people driving their kids up to this magnificent campus with a pool. I'm sure the pool came a little late, with a gym, with just a gorgeous football field. Like, wow, like you know what you're doing. But we have a history with fire alarms. So, but I want to tell you something else about fire alarms that's relevant to everybody here. I think you might find this interesting, because I think a fire alarm saves a shiur. We probably have some Rebbeim teachers. The kid who messes around in your shiur could save your shiur, the entire shiur. I want to tell you 3 stories quickly and bring out something that's very relevant to Purim, very, very relevant to Purim, and relevant to all of us as follows. In Eretz Yisrael, we have Uriel, you've been on the Shabbos night, so the alumni Shabbos. This year, Shal Shudas, about 1,000 people. It's a big crowd. And there's a certain pressure. This has to be stark. Let's have a Yedid Nefesh like this. 1,000 people. I'm saying, okay, Daniel, make something nice. Like, do something. And in the 1,000 people, they're Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbanim. You can't, it's scary. A big Rav from America was in the crowd. And one of our guys, Yehuda's in the crowd, and he was getting into a fight with another guy. Carrying on. I'm stressed. I'm like, that scene wants a lot of stress. Okay, Daniel, like, do something. Fix this up. Scene 2, a beautiful Yid, a giving Yid, generous Yid, who completely, L'Shem Shemayim, flew out 50 guys from Yeshiva to Florida for a Shabbos. He made a tent. It was incredible. Taka the Shabbos, a Yid who was generous, only did it for the right reasons. Amazing person. Friday night, my wife and I, Leil Shabbos, ate somewhere else, and we were coming shout for Einig to make the first event of Shabbos. Then we had a day Suda, we had a Shalosh Shudas and Malav Malka, but the first event is to make an Einig Shabbos. I'm sitting there were 2 Rabbanim there, Rosh Koilel there, people from the community, to make a beautiful Friday night Yehuda. The guy in his backyard also had the mistake that he had a beautiful basketball court. And some of the Chevra wanted to play. And they're playing ball. It's not exact the right conditions for an Einig. They're playing ball in the backyard. It's on Shabbos. Okay, make this Einig. And I'm stressed. Oh, like, oh no. Scene 2. I say 100% the guys who played basketball saved the entire Einig. And the guy who got into a fight at the Shalosh Shudas saved the whole Shalosh Shudas, saved the whole thing. Without them, the whole thing was nothing, zero. You know why? because I've learned from the guys to talk to myself. I could have just stopped the fight and got them all sitting down. I'm good at that. Hashem gave me a power, gave me a koyach. I can make a nice matzav. I had a conversation. I said, Daniel, why did they fly you down to Florida with the guys? I can get a better 50 who are better swayers, who will close their eyes and they'll sing, Share Mamish. Why'd they bring us down? Why'd they bring us down? Because the guys are authentic and sincere. Stop trying to make anything, Daniel. Stop. Stop! We're real, Hashem's real, and sing a nice song. Stop trying to make. Stop trying to make. Zero. Stop making. A fire alarm goes off in the middle of a shiur. Comedians need a certain atmosphere for that comedic route to work. We have something real, my friends. Agam Berger became a Shomer Shabbos in Gaza. You think it was like a very good ambiance for a Shabbos? So the Hamas behaved nicely. Hashem's real, the Yid's real, and she served Hashem. She became a Shomer. She became, the hostages became from, and Keith Siegel started making Borei Minei Mezainis by Hamas. He had the right conditions, you don't need any, it's not it. If the whole shul's talking, I'm not pushing, I don't like talking in shul. Do you know the whole place could be talking, they're not hurting anything? God is real and we're real. Talk to Hashem. I go eat out with my wife. The whole place is talking. We still have a very nice meal. We schmooze. They're ruining it all. I don't know. I'm talking to my friend. I don't know. You know Hashem is real and we're real? Do you know people talking in shul don't hurt anything? That they shouldn't talk. It's true they shouldn't talk because Hashem is real and we're real. You know the energy to say, I'm not a big shusher, but I want a quiet shul. Do you know that Hashem, I want the guy talking to know Hashem's real, he's real, not talk to Hashem. Hashem, you could talk to Hashem in a shul, a place where you didn't gather to talk to Hashem. So you're ruining you're not ruining anything. You're not ruining anything. Hashem, things are real. Your kids at your Shabbos table, not ruining your Shabbos table. They're actually saving the table. The guy you got into the fight saved the entire Shalshos. I promise. I mean sincere, not cute, because without him, I would have put on a show. And when he was making trouble, I let go. I said, Daniel, let go, stop. And I actually love Shal Shabbos, the best time of Shabbos, that you could feel something, Shabbos, the holiest time. I'd sing you with Nefesh with the Chevra, Bishmak, stop trying to make anything, stop. And then 1,000 people why'd they come there? Because the guys sing very nicely, and we sang to Hashem nicely. Why'd they invite to Florida? Because there's a sincerity, the word authentic. A Yid is real. What we have is real. We don't got to make so much. We try too hard. We try too hard to create. By the way, by prayer, if you see somebody frustrated, you're working too hard. Hashem wants you. He wants you. You talk to him. He really wants us. We could sing a song to Hashem. We connect to Hashem. So during a speech, a good alarm could save the whole thing. Because you would try to make the perfect. Stop. It lets you let go. Let go. The guy in the class, the teacher comes in, and this guy's she's ruining my whole lecture. She usually will save the whole lecture. Because you let go of what you were trying to make and tap into what is. Adar is a time of letting go of that Hashem really runs the world. A Yid lets go. Bittul Adas, we're in very good hands. It always, as somebody who likes good events, Purim is the hardest day. You can't make a good event on Purim. Try to make a good matzav. Chevra, there's no good matzav. The chevra is, it's no good matzav. It's the best day. Purim is the day, and that's the Inyan day. Let go, Daniel. Stop making a good matzav. Stop. Let go and plug into what is. Shloim, if we can come up, let's call Yehuda come up. You know Vani B'chastecha? Let's listen. Shloim, let's listen. We're learning from Moisachmai that we're capable, Halev Masa B'Yadeinu. The leg is given to our heart, to our us, that we could do something with our inside. And I think when we're less afraid of thoughts and we learn to follow them through, we'll find very, very strong shurashim, because a yid is very, very good. Hashem made a person very good. And even difficult thoughts inside of us that we're afraid of, and we may have even learned that it's bad, if we learn to talk back to it and work with it, we'll find it takes us to very good places because of the essential goodness of the Yid. That was one sugya. The second sugya we spoke about is fire alarms. That's something that looks like a disturbance could let us let go and then plug in a more authentic way, in a less forced way, in a less, we don't have to like create, it's there, there are good things here. A Yid, Hashem, a connection to Hashem, it doesn't have to be forced. I decided this Rosh Hashanah in Yeshiva, I made a decision that normally Erev Rosh Hashanah you give like a fiery pump-up speech, like a good, I decided that wasn't where I was at. I'm not doing that. That's not how I'm going to Rosh Hashanah. I'm going in much calmer. I'm not, and I gave a bacher came to me after by the Sud, the Erev Rosh Hashanah. He said the yeshiva is crazy. He said everywhere I am, there's like a pump up speech. Yeah, you sang a little with the guys. That he said it's crazy. It ended up the davening of Rosh Hashanah went till after 5:00. We stopped at 5:15. We could have gone 6 more hours. Because it was unforced, you have more strength. You run out of strength when you're forcing things. When you're trying to do something, you run out. When you plug into something that's authentic and real, we could have gone 5 more. We stopped to Pasha eat the Suda before Shkia, Pasha. We wanted to have the Suda, but it was calm and comfortable. People, mamish, they were Makablo Malcha Shemaim, we blew the shofar. You don't have to create a certain intensity. You have to plug into what is. Hashem likes our people, and our people have a tremendous neshama and are very close to Hashem. And we're Am Kareve, with a nation that's a karev to Hashem. And sometimes when we take away, I think a lot when you see the hostages, the madregas some of them came to of mamish, crazy madregas, is because you stripped everything else away. They had none of the ambiance. They just got to the thing I'm a yid, and it means something. They started serving Hashem from that place. This Agam Berger described that a Hamas terrorist handed her a siddur. I took that, that's a nace. And I took that as Hashem just saying, she's us. Hashem said, I want my people. He handed us a siddur in that condition. Pray to me. I want you. You want me and I want you. They handed her remarkably, they handed her, there's Reb Druckman who has a halacha sefer, and they handed her a halacha sefer. Actually saved her life because she thought you mechuyev to die for mitzvahs, so she wasn't going to eat even to the point of death. Then she learned in the sefer V'chai Behem. She never learned halacha before. She read in Reb Druckman's book V'chai Behem, and she ended up surviving from this sefer. L'maisa, Hashem said, I want you to learn, I want your prayers. That's what Hashem said to the entirety of our people. One yid is us all. That's a yid. That's what Hashem said to us all. So we could plug into that which is. We have something very good. Even when externally there's a hastara, understand that the pneumius is good. It's good. Don't be afraid of the pneumius. There are 2 songs I want to sing. Shlomo, I want to sing 2 songs, but everybody together. Let's sing the Barditchev Niggin. Rav Levi Yitzchak saw Yidden as so precious, and he saw Yidden, and he had beautiful einayim, saw our people for who we are. So I want to sing this song with the prayer that Hashem should give us good einayim to see ourselves as precious and to see it in others. And then we'll end. We'll peel off the klipa shleim. We'll do that also. Let's do the Barditchev Niggin. I'm not a guy who has a lot of political knowledge. It's not right forte at all. But I'm a curious guy. What happened in the White House Erev Shabbos was from the most unusual events I've ever heard. Since the Megillah story, we haven't been privy to like what's going on, like in the private conversation of world leaders like that. And I want to share something specific. I don't know who's wrong. I don't want to judge people, each one. We have a president, we're mechabed a president, we're people that are loyal. I'm not, without taking judgment away, the president said to a guy, this Zelensky, the president of the prime minister, the head of Ukraine, and he told him, you have no right to speak. Like, do you realize, he starts saying, I don't want to, he said, you're dead without like the help you're getting. What do you mean, I don't want to ceasefire? Like, what's I? Like, are you appreciative enough? How do you even talk? Like, what's your right? And he's like, in front of 8 billion people, I never saw somebody more ashamed. In front of 8 billion people, the whole world, if not 8 billion saw it, 5 billion see it. Half the world in front of billions of people, he was told you're not appreciative enough and you have no right to say anything. I don't want to say, you're dead. Okay, Atzlach, I believe you, now you're dead. He said, yeah, we can't serve. And it dawned on him. It was like a wild scene. I watched it 3 times. The Bacher showed me. I then showed it to my wife. We watched it. I asked the Bacher to show it a second time. And then I asked my wife if she watched it. She said, I saw it twice. I watched it a 3rd time. Amazing. And I want to say that we say to Hashem, and I'm not saying Musar, I get frustrated when Hashem doesn't listen to my prayers. Then I ask, I'm not giving myself Musar. I want to say it that Hashem lets us. We're Am Krayve, we're the friends of Hashem, we're the Krayve of Hashem, we're the children. He loves us. When we daven, I don't say, did you appreciate Hashem? Okay, I'll move away now. What right? And I'm not giving us Musar. I'm actually saying it's beautiful that Hashem says, you can fight me. I met a young lady last week. She was very upset at Hashem, rightfully. I daven so much, she's not listening. And I shared her feelings. Amazing, she's right. Holy feelings. And she's right. And Hashem loves us. And as such, we don't come, we don't have a right to talk. Like the man looked at this guy and said, we gave you $250 billion. I don't know what that looks like. And if we just back away, you're dead. He's like, yeah, like just you saw the air go out of a person. Like, yeah, we don't have that with Hashem. And we could say to Hashem and do say to Hashem, I get very frustrated. Hashem doesn't listen, and I'm not really going to change that. I'm actually just more appreciative and effort that with the Am Krayve, Hashem loves our people. And we go to Hashem, I want to have more gratitude. The most gratitude is that I can fetch to Hashem, and you let me do that too. Even let me be mad at you, Hashem. You let that also, you actually tell us, please come find me, please get mad at me, don't worry. I love you, get mad at me, I feel with davening. And then Yidden Fedairis, we say to Hashem, come on. Of course we have gratitude, of course we say Maidim, and the most gratitude is that we're your people and we can talk to you and cry to you and fetch to you and complain to you. You don't say you have no right to speak. We have every right. He wants us. He wants to hear our voice. He wants us to talk. So I just want to close by saying how fortunate we're part of Am Krayve, the nation that's a Karev to Hashem, the nation that are the children of Hashem, the nation who Hashem lets us fetch to him and complain to him and talk to him and doesn't say, what right do you have to speak? He wants our speak. He wants our voice. He wants to hear us. He loves our voice. He says, Ashmieni Kalish, I want to hear you speak. You have every right to talk. Say your heart. And we come with tremendous gratitude as the Am Hashem. If we can close with Peel Off the Klippa, we'll close with that song. I thank every single person for Sunday morning to come. I apologize we went so long. I thank Hashem for that fire alarm that grounded us. And then we'll peel off the klippa to see. But I ask that we all work on this point, seeing the greatness in ourselves. It's just true. It's not force, it's emes. It's emes, and to see it in others. Let's peel off the klippa. Have an excellent, excellent day. Thank you also. Thank you, everyone, for arranging. Thank you, every single person, for coming. Shlomo, let's end with this.
Peel off the klippa and say the beginning. Every has a neshama. Peel off the klippa, see the beginning. Every has a neshama. Peel off the klippa, see the beginning. Every is at the neshama. Peel off the klippa and see the beginning. Every is at the neshama. Oh yeah, so holy, so pure, so precious, Nishames of Yedin, Nishames of Yedin, Yedin. So holy, so pure, so precious, Nishames of Yedin, Nishames of Yedin. Ma'achav the Tevis, Zayna Benin, Yedin Ata Neshama. Ma'achav the Tevis, Zayna Benin, Yedin Ata Neshama. Ma'achav the Tevis, Zayda Benin, Yedin Neshama. Ma'achav the Tevis, Zayda Benin, Yedin Neshama. So holy, so pure, so precious, Nishames of Yedin, Nishames of Yedin, Yedin. So holy, so pure, so precious, Nishames of Yedin, Nishames of Yedin, Yedin. So holy, so pure, so precious, Nishames of Yedin, Nishames of Yedin. So precious, so pure. Yedin, 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 Yedin. So precious, so pure. Yedin, 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 Yedin. So precious, so pure. Neshames of Yedin. Souls so pure, so precious, Neshames of Yedin. Neshames of Yedin.